Welcome to Reading the Green, our golf DFS show. My name is Mike. Just Kyle tonight. We didn't even invite Jordan, did we, Kyle?
Kind of. Big golf tournament weekend for him. I'm not sure I fully understood what he had going on, Mike. His team somehow nominated him to play for him, but I wasn't tracking.
Yeah, I think so. He's got, first of all, Jordan's always invited. But tonight, I think we're trying to squeeze in what is really our last show before break. We take about a month off, and we got the Tour Championship coming up this week. But Jordan said he's got his own championship, which is his men's league championship. And supposedly of your team of 5, you nominate 2 players to play. And I don't know if it's must be like a 2-person best ball or something like that. And so he was lamenting that he got picked by his team, and it's like 115 degrees here in Minneapolis this week. So yeah, I don't know. You texted him. I don't know if he's surviving.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to be playing golf today. Not with how my game's been lately, but also with the temperature.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure we'll get an update here at some point of what went on. But yeah, I played golf yesterday, though. It was hot. It wasn't this hot. It was hot. It was good. It was good. Now you're probably wondering, why did I play Chaska Town Course yesterday?
Yeah, why did you play Chaska Town Course yesterday, Mike?
Did I tell you that I signed up for the Minnesota Mid Amateur? This was like a few months ago, but it's next week. Did I tell you that?
You might have mentioned it on the pod one time, but I was probably prepping very important content and might not have been listening fully.
So I'm going to try my hand. I've actually never played in the Mid-Am. I think the Minnesota Golf Association kind of struggles with what this tournament is because first of all, you just sign up. It's limited to 240 players. You 2 rounds at 2 different courses. And then if you make the cut of 60 after the first 2 days, you play the 3rd round at the kind of the host course. And so I've never played in the Mid-Am. You got to be above 30 years old, and you got to be less than a 6 handicap. So now you know that I'm above 30 for all the listeners. But so I thought I'd give it a chance this year of just trying to hold on to a little bit of my tournament competitive edge. And so we'll see how it goes. But the host course this year is Island View Golf Club.
Oh,
with the alternate location as Chaska Town Course.
So what's that? So you play one at each of those, and then you go back to Island View if you make the 3rd day?
Yeah, think of it like the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am or the American Express. So there's kind of like the host course, and then you play the other course so they can spread out the players a little bit. So my first round is on Monday at Island View, and then I go out to Chaska Town Course on Tuesday, and kind of we'll see where it goes from there. I have no idea what to expect. I guarantee the top players will be very good, and I'm sure we'll be 10 under par at least for 3 days. So, but I don't know what it takes to make the cut.
So
we'll see.
Yeah, Island View. That's interesting to me because you don't have a whole lot. I mean, you can get the pens a little difficult perhaps, but you can't do a lot yardage wise out there, right?
No, so both courses are going to play about 6,500. So that's about what the back is at Island View. And you're right. I've played Island View in tough conditions when it's been firm and fast and they get the greens running. But you're right. There's not a lot protecting it. And then Chaska Town Course, pretty open. If they get the wind going, then I think you could play tough. I don't know what the forecast is for next week. The Chaska Town Course is going to play 6,500 as well. They're playing, it's not the tips, it's like the combo tips.
Okay. All right.
So,
well, good luck.
So thanks. So I went out and played just to kind of get a few more numbers on some of the tee shots. So it'll be interesting. Something to recap when we come back in a month.
All right. Looking forward to it.
All right. So Kyle, I watched the back 9 of the BMW Championship coming back on the airplane from family vacation last week, which made for great. Like the first hour of the flight was just wildly entertaining. Did you see Vic in his awesome Sunday?
I think I picked him up when he was on about 7 or 8. At that point, It was kind of we just got back as well, so I was unpacking, running around doing some things. So didn't intensely watch until 15, 16, 17, 18-ish. But yeah, dude was just on freaking fire.
I mean, he hit the ball. I mean, his iron play and his tee play. I mean, he hit the ball exactly where he wanted to on every golf swing for really the entire round. I mean, you have to shoot 61, but it wasn't like he had to roll in any bombs. He had to just make a whole bunch of 10 footers and less. So, but that was probably the second most dramatic thing that happened on Sunday. You guys are texting me like crazy about what's going on in One-and-Done.
We had some drama, Mike. We had bold strategy going on.
So, I mean, you're talking to someone who finished in dead last, so it's not like I was looking at what was going on there.
Hey, fun fact: you did not finish dead last. You snuck up a little bit, and you finished next to last. Primgar Golf and Country Club takes home the title of dead last this year. By the way, I was in the bottom 10% as well, so I can't say a whole lot. But the drama is, so Iowa State Cyclones went into the week either fourth or fifth. I'm trying to do the math here quickly, but in the money and just needed a solid finish and had a good chance. And they went the bold route of not submitting a pick. From what I can tell, that happened to them 3 times this year. So they ended up missing the money by roughly $150,000 because of no pick. And even with no pick, it took Newberg and Captain America, who finished 4th and 5th, picking Victor Hovland, getting the $3.6 million to jump him, and they finished 4th and 5th. So yes, he was 4th going into the week. Starting at the top of the board, though, Champles takes home the victory. He took Tom Kim, which gave him $480K. There was still drama going into Sunday on who was going to take home the title. Derek Howard finished 2nd. He had Spieth, who dropped like a rock on the weekend, but Champles won by $766,000 with his winnings of $18.8 million on the year. Jacob King finished 3rd, another about 1.6 or 1 million back of Derek and 1.67 back of Champles. He also had Spieth, so there was not a whole lot of drama on 2nd and 3rd, but Spieth was leading Tom Kim at least through Friday, so both Derek and King had a chance to jump up there and take the title. And the other near misses, Mulligan 46, Rock Chalk MN, and TMK finished 7th, 8th, 9th, all 1.4 to 2 million back of the money. So they had a shot going into the weekend. Like Homa, Rock Chalk MN had Homa. He ended up with $790K on the event, but he won. That would have been 3 million more. He would have got up his money. So it was fun all the way to the finish.
So a couple of comments. First of all, I may have been with one of the people there that just narrowly missed out on the money this past week on vacation, and had a little bit of chatter in the rental about what his play should have been going into the BMW, and he was in 6th place at the time, so 1 spot out of the money. And he said, "Well, the highest ranked guy I have left is Spieth." And I said, don't love Spieth this week. I think you guys talked about that on the podcast, and then it was, I think Jordan might have taken Spieth, and then I think Kyle, your comment was, all right, well maybe that'll be a bit of a contrarian play. It was the exact opposite. So here I was advising TMK, okay, you could go Spieth, maybe you get a little bit of leverage on the field and you can jump back into 4th or 5th place. Go Spieth, and I think we had like 7 people or so in the pool take Spieth this week. Do you think that's because nobody had the guts to play him the rest of the year, and so everybody ended up with Spieth as their highest ranked guy, and it just sort of been that's where the clicks went? That had to be it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I know some of the others towards the top of the board gamed it out, though, of who each person had left, and some of the big dogs had. I think Champles had used to be somewhere. That it was him. So I think that probably played into it a little bit too, as they knew, not everyone. They knew he didn't have Spieth left, so you at least could take a swing at him. But then also some people probably just were like, well, that's the top ranked golfer I have. Let me plug and play.
I was just really surprised because that was just not the guy I would have taken for Olympia Fields. But the other comment I was going to make, Kyle, you sent the text. The 18 million that Champles had to win the RTG One-and-Done was about 10 million short of what it took to win the Mayo One-and-Done.
Just a couple less entries. So we'll have to all step up our game next year. But it was fun. I'm glad we did it. First time around.
I'll call out the listener league, the top 3 of the listener league, as we always do, as we get towards the end of the 2023 season. JM Newberg finishing in first place, Andy Dinges in second, and AJ Bentley in third. A couple of names that haven't been called a bunch recently. So good job, guys, getting money in your pockets. Gutsiest play of the week, contributor-wise, Fitz, mentioned by Spencer Aguiar. Haven't seen Matt Fitzpatrick do a ton lately, but he was up there for a while and kind of had his heart ripped out. Sadly, too, by Vic and that ridiculous back nine. Top contributor, top expert of the week, Rick Gaiman had Vic. Of course, Rick loves betting on Vic and will bet him most weeks. Vic, Henley, M. Poston, and Lee Hodges, though Lee was mostly terrible. But Kyle, 2 weeks of this no-cut DFS stuff, like, are you looking forward to next year? I know it's only really 4 more events that are going to be no-cut, but it kind of sucks. Like, it's hard to know kind of how your trajectory is for the week. I've been awful the last 2 weeks, so I'm not sure I'm looking forward to this next year.
No, I don't like no cuts. Give me full field. Give me a cut from DFS purposes for sure. I enjoy that a lot more.
It just takes away a lot of our edge, right? We put so much on safety and trying to get guys across the line and building around that like this just kind of takes all that away. So yeah, got to figure something out. All right, Tour Championship. Yeah, go ahead.
Last thing we should mention, Mike, just to give Jordan a little love, I will say in the One-and-Done, he had the most made cuts. So good job, Jordan. It still only got you 16th place. But hey, here is the participation ribbon.
You might not have this off the top of your head or handy, but if maybe we get to it by the end of the show. I think at the beginning of the year, you said it probably took 4 to 6 winners to compete. Is that kind of what Champles and Derek Howard and Jacob King, is that what they had in that range?
Yeah, Champles had Justin Rose at AT&T, Corey Connors at Valero, Tony Finau, Mexico, Victor Hovland at Memorial, Ricky Fowler at Rocket Mortgage. So he had 5.
That's 5.
A 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 5th also.
That's good stuff.
So yeah, and he just went on a tear from the Valspar, Tommy Fleetwood 3rd, Valero, Corey Connors 1st, Spieth at the Masters. That's a gutsy play 4th. Can't lay at RBC 3rd, and Finau 1st. It's where you really jumped up the leaderboard. So yeah, 5 winners probably. Let's see, Derek really quick had 5 winners as well. But he faded down the stretch. His John Deere Scottish British 3M Open was 123rd, 106th, 142nd, and 102nd. So
I suppose his betting cards might have looked all right for the season had he bet his One-and-Dones outright.
Yeah, heck yeah, especially if you just took a single bullet on the One-and-Done, for sure.
All right, so we can move on to the Tour Championship. I know we're going to do this. We're not mailing it in. Okay, we're kind of mailing it in. We're looking forward to a little break here, but not a ton out there right now as far as how we do things content-wise, reading content, taking it in. So not a ton out there on Tour Championship. So I'm just going to talk very briefly about some of the strategy this week because only 30 players in the field. We head down to East Lake Country Club in Atlanta, Georgia. Last year, Rory was the FedEx Cup champion. I think Rory win on sort of raw stroke for the week too? I should have looked that up. This week it's super goofy DFS wise.
Yeah, he had to, right? He started at 4 under.
I think so. That's right. He would have had to come back and clear the field strokes wise. Kyle, this is going to sound like a dumb question, but I did not check this before we got on. DFS points are for the golf you actually play, or is it inclusive of your starting strokes?
Well, I'm going to answer your question by saying I am not 100% sure because I haven't given a whole lot of DFS thought this week. I will do like maybe throw a couple of lineups in, but nothing crazy because yeah.
So,
It's just such a weird event.
the only thing that it matters is the finishing points. But so the finishing points go to the person that shoots the lowest score or the person that finishes at the top of the leaderboard.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, it matters, but we'll figure it out.
You probably shouldn't have asked me that one on air when we're supposed to be a DFS show.
Shows you how much we're prepping for the Tour Championship. So you had one nugget on thoughts this week of where to plant your flag.
Yeah, the only content I really took in so far is the fantasy grind. Jeff Ulrich, right? He has a nice thread on Twitter, just based on the last 5 years and what the trend is, where they started for the top 5. And the one key takeaway I saw was someone that has started T16th, so 2 under as a starting position, has finished in the top 5 every year. It's had this format. You also have 2 people that started first win it, but then you had Burry come from 6th and 5th, 4 under and 5 under win it as well. So I thought that was an interesting one. Go back and something to look up. And if you are going to do some builds this week, make sure you have someone starting at 2 under. Just historically, that's paid off.
Well, it's a good point around differentiation too. Like with the pricing being kind of funky this week too, you're probably just going to get a lot of people loading up on the top half of the board. And to your point, there's going to be guys, I think Poston had flash last year. There's going to be guys down board that get up there. It's 4 rounds. It's 4 rounds. So just remember, you can play down the salary board. I have one other thing, Kyle. I totally forgot to wrap this up from the BMW. I'm just going to go back really quick. We're not doing a name game this week. We're not doing a name game for the Tour Championship because it has been decided. Jordan is the name game champion for the 2023 season. We went into last week. I was 1 point behind Jordan, and you were 1 point behind me. And my car-themed golfers, I took care of business on my end. Well, you took care of business for me. I finished 1 point ahead of Jordan. So I was looking pretty good as I was filling this out, thinking I might be able to tie him, but nope, the listeners come through, as do you, Kyle, with Ario Speedwagon and Russell Henley finishing with 139 points. So final standings on the name game, Jordan had 13 wins. I had 12, you had 11, and the listeners had 10.
Pretty tight, but boo Jordan.
Yeah, we'll get him his winnings and that, and then look to restart that as the PGA Tour season gets up and going again. We'll have to talk about whether we start it, on the official start of the 24 season, which would be next January. So, all right. I know we didn't really do Tour Championship, but I think we got out as much as you and I have thought about it. But I did want to ask you one more question before we close things up.
Oh no.
Ryder Cup captain's picks are what, a week or 2 away? They come out next. Do they come out after the Tour Championship, right?
They do.
So right now, the automatic qualifiers are Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harman, Patrick Cantlay, Max Homa, and Xander Schauffele. Obviously, the drama, the BMW was Homa and Schauffele needed high enough finishes to bump Koepka out of the automatic qualifying spot, which now just contributes to the drama of what is Zach Johnson going to do with his final 6 captain's picks. And I thought, Kyle, we could just have a little debate. I feel like there are 4 locks. Curious where your head is at. I feel like there's 4 locks, and then I feel like there's some debate on the last 2, and then I have a couple solutions.
I think.
Do you want to start? Want to give me a lock for a captain's pick?
I think there's 2 locks.
Okay. All right.
I think Brooks is a lock, and I think Spieth is a lock.
Okay. I had both of those. I agree with those.
I think there's other. I think Morikawa is a likely lock.
Okay.
And based on the conversation we've had previously, I think JT is a lock.
Oh man, I didn't even write JT down on my list here.
JT is 16-5-3 all time at the Ryder Cup and President's Cup combined. He just made for this format. We've talked about it previously on a little insider info. So I'm not. I called him a lock. I think it's a likely lock. He didn't help himself the way he played the last couple weeks, obviously. And then there was a little nugget that Sobel put out this week of him playing at the Fortnite. I don't think he signs up for the Fortnite if he doesn't think he's playing.
So that's him taking accountability for the shittiness of his golf game and saying, I'm going to go out to, that's in California, right? Or Nevada? Where did they play the Fortnite?
Napa, I think.
Napa, yeah. And he's taking accountability for his golf game and saying, I'm going to go travel out there for a week, knowing he's got to go to Italy, right after that and try to find some.
2 weeks later.
Find some food. I know, but I'm sure the rest of the crew is going to have, some family time, and he's going to get to work. So I guess you got to appreciate that. I
mean, GT,
I don't know.
Just on the travel there, though, like, why, if he doesn't think he's playing, why would he sign up for the Fortnite? Why would you take time?
Yeah, you're right.
Go get right?
Yeah, you are. I think you're right. And that's interesting, though, that's what everyone is going to believe here. And so it's almost like this has been leaked to the media. But I saw some other takes, too, about if JT is in, that it just perpetuates this idea that the Ryder Cup is it's an old boys club. And if you're in the club, you're in. And there's really no way to play yourself out, which I kind of agree with and kind of don't love. But at the same time, I mean, you don't have to look very far past 16-5-1. Like, I think you want that guy in your team.
So I'm curious, who were your 4 locks?
So I had Koepka, Spieth, Collin, and then I thought Ricky would be a lock.
I think Ricky is on the team. I think we can agree there. I think it's just the room makes a big deal. I think that is important here. And obviously he's tight with a lot of these guys. And then just his year overall. I mean, the dude missed 1 cut at the PGA since last October. Won an event, finished top 5 or T5 at US Open, T9 Memorial. I agree. I think he's in.
I think he's got a killer instinct here and a level of confidence that he hasn't had in 4 years. And, the last time we're talking about Ryder Cup, Ricky was an afterthought, and he's just been on such a different trajectory. And that's the kind of guy that I would like to have on my team just based on his entire season. So, agree there. So that would leave us with one player. If you buy that JT's on the team, I was less sure, but I think you're right. I think he is on, just given the news. So then, to me, I thought there were kind of 2 guys. Well, I'll put it this way: Burns, no thanks. Lucas Glover, no thanks. The bubble's got to pop there on Glover at some point. We'll never know, right? Glover might go shoot a pair of 59s at his home course while the guys are playing in Rome, and we'll never know what he would have done. But he's got to run out of gas at some point. No to any live golfer, including Bryson. The reason that I think, obviously, Koepka has shown a lot more form in co-sanction or kind of dual events this year, but Brooks is the only guy that doesn't give a shit about what happens with live. And every other live player is going to play on the Ryder Cup team trying to fly the live flag and prove live. And that just feels like such a waste of energy. So no thanks to any other live golfer.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, I think you could squint and make an argument for Bryson just based on his play, but he's not getting in just because he's Bryson.
He's not getting in now because he just released the Bryson 58 shirt, which is really incredible. It's really something. The 2 guys that I had on the fence kind of puts Cam Young and Keegan Bradley on the fence based on the standings. if I had to choose between the two, I'd go Keegan. I think Keegan probably is a tougher competitor that would want this more. It's been a long time since he played in the Ryder Cup. I trust his game a little bit more than I do trust Cam's at this point. Although I don't have a good feel for Marco Simone, so that might be a factor. But I would go Keegs over Young, but I'm not sure I'm taking either of them.
I think I'm guessing I could guess maybe who your dark horse is going to be. I struggle with Keegan versus Cameron Young as well. Cameron Young's year overall, when you look at his finishes and everything, wasn't as bad as I guess it was in my mind. He got sideways for a little bit there, but he earlier in the year he was not playing that bad. I don't love the course setup and course fit for Cameron Young, and I think that's a narrative that's getting out there a lot. But at the same time, you look at who the Euros are having, it's not the Euro teams of old. You have Rory, you have Rahm, you have Vic, you have guys that are long and are closer to the mold of Cameron Young than Sergio and Keegan Bradley, for example. So some of the Euro teams of old, and so I think Keegan, I'm kind of going full circle here, is a better course fit. But this is just kind of the pull back and forth in my mind. I could see Cameron Young, and they're saying, okay, more of an up and coming golfer, go that route, set a core team that's going to be some of these older guys start to transition out, start a new core. The game is trending younger. I saw a stat out there today that said basically golfers over 30 have a worse historic Ryder Cup record in the last 3 Ryder Cups than they ever had previously, and it's actually a losing record. So that was interesting. I don't know between those two, Mike. But you had someone you sounded like you wanted to throw out there.
I have a couple of bits. None of them is real. I think that I think you and I have said the name of the 6 captains picks at this point. I don't think it's going to come from someone outside this group, but man, there's a couple of guys further down that how do you look past, someone like Eric Cole? The guy has just been so money that I feel like he needs to get a little attention. Tom Hoagie sitting there at 26. I mean, the guy hasn't lost strokes on approach in seemingly 2 years. And so, God, if you want consistency and someone just going to rely that you can have a partner rely on, God, my guy Tommy Tables just feels ripe for the Darswork taking. Do you want to know a guy that's got a 2-1-0 record in Ryder Cup? That sounds like he's going to be coming off the shelf. Daniel Berger. I don't know. That just seems like a spot that you might be able to just have him knock some of the rust off and not have to feel the pressure of playing a stroke play event. He just kind of one swing at a time. Daniel Berger, ripe for the taking. Kyle, but I have one more ridiculous take.
Okay.
What if Zach Johnson?
Who fills out the rest of Mike's crazy team?
No one. We just roll with 11. You put Keegan. We're going Koepka. We'll go Koepka, Spieth, Colin, Ricky, JT, Keegan. That would make 6. Okay, I take Keegan off the team. Sorry, we just go with 11. And you know what? We got to give up a point on Sunday. That's fine because we're going to be ahead by enough. And we just have one fewer guy on the bench. What do you think?
ZJ's going to step out and take that last spot. Can you just go play singles on Sunday?
That's Tiger in the President's Cup 3 years ago. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love. It's like once you get past those 5, JT, Koepka, Spieth, Colin, Ricky, it's not pretty.
So to take us back to reality here, nice deviation down the road of Mike's favorite golfers. I think I've seen his name float a little bit, and I think he isn't really in contention at Russell Henley, but he's been playing well. So maybe if you really squinted, he'd be closer to the team than some of these other guys that are a little above him in the standings. I don't think Burns is completely dismissed, but if I had to handicap it, I'll go for that last spot. Cameron Young, 60% chance. Keegan, 30% chance. and Sam Burns 10%. And I don't really think there's
Mhm.
anyone else realistic outside of that.
I think you're right. I'm curious if JT getting picked would be he's ranked what 16 in the standings right now. Do you know who the lowest ranked player to be picked for the Ryder Cup is?
I don't. He's 15 right now. So
I just think that that's a pretty deep selection.
For if people don't have him in front of them, Brooks is 7, as we talked about. Spieth is 8. Cameron Young is 9, which I think will play a factor. Colin is 10. Keegan's 11. Sam Burns is 12. Ricky's 13. Denny McCarthy is 14. I don't think he's really under consideration. 15 is JT. Lucas Glover 16. So if you end up taking Ricky and JT, it'd be Keegan and Burns in this scenario that got bumped out. But there's automatic qualifiers and then captain's picks for a reason. The other name I've heard mentioned, I have no clue why, is Tony Finau. He's 21st. He's nowhere near this team. Get out of here.
It surprises me how low he's ranked.
I mean, I think if there's anyone that people really haven't thrown out a ton that could be a dark horse consideration is DJ, but for your other reasons, as you mentioned, I don't think that's real either. So I think we got the team, Mike.
I think we do. All right. Well, as we normally would do, we'd be back in a week to talk about the results of the Tour Championship, Kyle, but I don't think we're going to. When are we going to be back? Fortnite? Ryder Cup? Do we know?
The fortnight, as I would like to say, September 14th, Silverado Resort and Country Club, North Course, Napa, California. Perhaps, maybe we do a little live, knock the rust off sesh, have some beers, make Jordan actually tell some jokes. We'll get back in the groove. We need a little reset. The games, the betting hasn't been great. The DFS hasn't been great. We'll reset and we'll be better for y'all.
All right, we'll take that as a public service announcement that you will not have a Reading the Green episode for the next couple of weeks, but don't worry, you can always find us on Twitter at RTG Podcast DFS. And of course, listen back to old episodes if you just want to have a little bit of fun. But yes, we will be back in a couple of weeks to cover the Fortnite, Ryder Cup, Sanderson Farms, all the good fall golf that's about to happen. Good luck with the Tour Championship. Hope you win a little bit of money on the way out. See you later.